Greetings. I wasn't really going to do a video about this, but I have searched on YouTube and on the internet, and I have not found enough heterosexual, natural born women talking about this topic. And so I do believe that we, as natural born women, we need to be more vocal. We need to be more vocal about this, because one of the things that I saw just a few years ago was that a lot of women, straight, natural born women, were going into spaces supporting LGBT and supporting trans persons. Now it has gotten to a point where, as you can see, and unless your eyes are closed and unless you're just dumbfounded, you can see that it is a type of erasure of women that is going on, and it's happening through the trans movement. Excuse me, let me fix this a little bit. Right? An erasure of women. It seems crazy to me that for past generations you had women protesting and fighting and arguing and trying to have all kinds of bills passed for women to have equality and to have women's spaces, things like Title IX and such for sports. And now just all of a sudden we can just be so quiet, where you have men coming into these spaces actually breaking records, female sport records in these places. Young ladies, our young girls, having to get dressed in locker rooms with males simply because he identifies as a woman, or he self-identifies as a girl. And now they're exposed to this, right? This is crazy. You think we're living in some kind of craziness, but this is not the first time it has happened. This has happened historically, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But let me start with the very first idea and the very first premise, because like I said, I haven't seen enough of this. I haven't seen enough women, natural born women, speaking against this. And I have actually seen lesbian women talking about this, and I'll put a link up there. There was a particular lesbian female who talked about this and how it was a type of erasure of women, and that men are getting into female spaces and nobody's saying enough about it, right? So I'll put that link on there too. I'm going to put a lot of links on here because I want you to arm yourselves. As natural born women, I want you to arm yourselves with truth and with wisdom, right? The Bible talks about putting on the whole armor of God, and I do look at this as a thing of what's happening is a demonic thing that's happening, and we need to be on the side of righteousness. So let me start with the very first thing. Excuse me, somebody's having a little party over there. Let me start with the very first thing. I'm not sure what they're screaming, but let me start with the very first thing, which is defining a woman, right? Which seems so crazy. You have these people who are, you have like Matt Walsh, that's another good one. I'll link that on there too. Where you have people being asked the question of what is a woman, and they can't even define it. They can't even define, oh, it's whatever you choose to be, and da-da-da. No definition is like that. Every definition has meanings, has some form of a meaning to make it clear. Let me say this here. Remember, this is about arming yourself with the right things to say, the right things to say when these people come, having the right pushback. So the simplest definition you can get for what is a woman. A woman is an adult human female. That's it, straight up. That's the simplest answer. An adult human female. Now, what does female mean? A female from the standpoint of human beings, because you have female animals, but from the standpoint of a human being, a female is one that's born with an XX chromosome. That's what a female is. So even before you ever became a woman, because remember, that's an adult. Before you became a woman, you were already a female. And a doctor could look in the womb of your mother, another woman, and tell that she was having a girl or a female, right? That female, once it was born, was going to be born as that female in utero, as an embryo, as a double X, was going to be born as a girl. That girl, that little girl, was going to grow up to be a woman. Period. So there's no changing along the way. There's no guessing along the way. There's none of that. You started off one way and you continued on that path. So don't let other people confuse the issue. It really isn't confusing. It's straightforward. I mean, it's the simplest thing. Kids can understand that, right? But they confuse us, or confuse y'all, confuse some of these people here with this nonsense, especially talking about gender, using the word gender as opposed to the word sex. The word sex is a scientific word. I am of the female sex. My husband is of the male sex. My sons are of the male sex, right? Gender is more of a cultural thing. And in certain cultures, women do X, Y, Z. And in other cultures, men do X, Y, Z, right? That's what the whole gender thing is. It's more of a social construct. But in terms of science, your sex is one or the other. It's not both. It's not neither, and all these other terms. So that's the first thing. The second thing I want to say is this term here, and I'm looking down because I want to make sure I hit everything when they talk about this cisgender. I have a clip, I have an attachment here that I'm going to put on here where that word cis came from. Apparently, according to this, and I didn't do all of my homework on that part of it, but according to this person who speaks on it, and this is actually a lesbian woman who's talking about this, she said the term cisgender came from a pedophile who was looking for a term that would be opposite of transgender. Let me say to you, you as a woman are the defining point. We don't need to look for something that's the opposite of you, or look as if we're in some kind of little category, putting people into all of these little categories. No, you are a woman, an adult human female. Y'all define yourselves by all these other things if that's what you want to do. You're not a cisgender. You're not a cis woman. Don't let people call you a cis woman. Don't let them call you that. That is a disrespectful term. You say, no, 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 I'm a woman. I am a natural born woman, period. And then you give them the definition so that they're clear on that. And don't let people say that you're a chest feeder or a birthing person or a bleeder. No, you breastfeed, you give birth, you have a menstrual cycle. These are things that women have. These are things that females experience. Females, whether they be animals or whether they be human beings, these are things we deal with. Now, just because you don't have a child doesn't make you not a woman, right? There's some women who don't have children. There's some women who have issues with that. They may have a medical condition. That in and of itself doesn't make you a woman or not a woman. What does make you a woman, or a female, I should say, is the fact that you have the hardware for it, the physical structures in your body to be able to have children. If you were going to have a child, if you chose to have a child, or if there was some if you went to the doctor and they helped to improve upon whatever may be causing you to be infertile, if that happens. Some women have that, but we don't use the outlier to define a particular thing. No, women give birth, they breastfeed, they have children, they have menstrual cycles, and those are the defining points about a woman and about a female. You have those as a female. What's other things? Protecting your daughters. Let me say that. This is very important. Protecting your daughters and protecting girls in girl spaces. As we see that males are in these spaces with women and girls. Grown men being able to self-identify as a woman, as a trans woman, and then going into female bathrooms, female prisons, female organizations and clubs. How are we allowing this? Female athletes, female sports, breaking records that females have put in place. How are we allowing such a thing to happen and not being more vocal about this? Getting scholarships in the place of other women, female athletes. They're getting them. What kind of, this is like a dream, like a nightmare craziness that's going on. And the fact that there aren't enough people speaking about it, there aren't enough women speaking about it, there aren't enough men speaking about it. I don't know if this particular platform is just blocking it and keeping it quiet, making it seem like people don't have any objection to it, which that's very possible, or if it's just that people are just blind, deaf, and dumb to this whole thing. I have no idea, but I need to be someone that speak on it, and what I'm saying to you is I want you to arm yourself with knowledge and with information about defining these particular terms and not allowing other people to define you about who you are, but protecting your daughters and protecting your girls in these spaces. Young ladies having to dress in front of males who are identifying as females. How crazy is that? It's unsafe. It's unsafe, and we're not protecting our daughters, our girls, in these places, in these spaces. But the whole thing is very demonic. It is demonic, and it's not the first time that it has happened. Historically, it has happened in the ancient world. There's one particular deity called Astaroth, going by different names. Ishtar, that was one of the very common names. In the Vodun tradition, she's referred to as Mama Wata. That's another one. And Mama Wata is the one where you get the mermaids, which is why oftentimes when you listen to trans people speak and talk, and the trans males and stuff, they always talking about these mermaids and having dreams about mermaids and just loving mermaids everywhere. Everything has to be mermaids all the time because it has to deal with these water spirits. And they often in certain traditions, they're referred to as water demons, that they're real evil in those waters. A lot of times they're those sirens, how they get men and they cause ships to crash and they possess the men and all of that stuff. It's a spirit that's very antagonistic to males. In the ancient time, these particular the priests would dress up as women. They parade around. Lots of parades was a part of, lots of dancing parades, homosexual sex, as well as males cutting off their genitalia, sacrificing, castrating themselves as a part of their sacrifice to that deity, Ishtar and Astaroth and all of that, and that dancing and stuff. All of that is a part of her thing. And I have the links on here. There's a guy, a reverend, I think he's a reverend. He wrote a book called Return of the Gods. I haven't read the book, but I'm just recommending because, again, what he's talking about, he's talking about all of this and he gets more into detail of it, right? This is where I got some of my information. So I'm going to have a whole lot of links to this. Arm yourselves. Please arm yourselves, and don't be quiet about it. Don't be quiet about it. Some people, they may have people in their family who are self-identifying in this way, and they feel like they can't say anything about it because they love their family members. Let me say to you, you can still speak truth and righteousness and still love your family member, but not love the thing that they're doing, right? This is what it means to be righteous and godly. And the time has come for us to draw a line in the sand, because, like I said, this is a demonic thing that's going on the planet. And it's the heart of it is here, so it seems. The heart of it seems to be here in the United States, confusing, and it's attacking our children, coming after our children at their young ages, so that they grow up under this grow up under this goddess and her energy. And as we move the idea of a Godhead off of the scene, you find more and more of this being accepted. So arm yourself with knowledge, arm yourself with truth. Like it says in the book of Ephesians, arm yourself with the word and righteousness. And you may, like I said, you may not be a Christian or anything like that, but it's time for you to draw a line in the sand. Where do you stand on it? Where are you going to stand on it? In truth and righteousness, or are you going to flow with the rest of the world that's going in that direction of confusion all the way around and being possessed by these deities and these demons that are coming down to the planet and possessing people and possessing your children? All right, that's it for now. Those are the main points that I wanted to say and mention on here. You know, this is also, we're protecting our sons too, but I'm talking specifically about the aspect of protecting our daughters and our women and standing strong as women. That's it for now. Y'all take care. Peace.